I don't know if anybody else saw this viral post. I should check into it. It says that a child, I think a 3-year-old, made a $3 million, was it PlayStation commercial using Higgs field AI. I feel like that's a clickbaity. I should actually watch the commercial that this 3-year-old made. I mean, like, even like, could a 3-year-old even do it? I'm not sure. When you think about, like, I mean, how did the 3-year-old edit it? That's probably my question. If it's really worth $3 million, like, what did they put in this thing to make it worth $3 million? I'm trying to think if there's any other AI news that I saw. A bunch of companies are signing deals. I don't know if that's not as interesting to anybody. Nothing as big as Sora 2 or Agent Kit. Unless anybody else has some cool AI news, throw it out there. Today, I was thinking, yesterday's coaching call, we talked a lot about lead gen, and there's this concept that I keep bringing up, which is AI automation is great, but then how do you actually create value with it, right? Because if you just do the AI automation without the thinking or the value, then you're losing it. And this comes from yesterday's coaching call where we were talking about, like, different ways to do lead generation. And a lot of the conversation didn't really focus on using necessarily AI and automation to do things, but really making good decisions up top to be able to actually capitalize on AI and automation. So today what I want to do is go through the process of generating content using ChatGPT, GenSpark, and Gamma, essentially, because this is something I've been doing recently. I think that, again, like, you can create these mailing lists, right? You can go to Apollo, say, and they have a free tier. You'll use up your free tier pretty quickly. Or there's other competitors to Apollo, but we'll just say Apollo, for instance, right? And you can find all these different people on there. You could pay for it for like $60 a month, something like that, and get a bunch of leads. And then use a service like Mailgun, or even just go through Apollo. Although I think it's probably, you can use up your credits in a more wise way by, like, doing sort of a Mailgun script. You send a bunch of emails out to these people, right? And then you can connect all this stuff together in any day, for sure, right? But then, if you're just sending emails to people for your lead gen, and it's just like, hey, I have a service, use my service, cold outreach emails. The effectiveness of that is not amazing, right? And so it's great that you can use AI and automation to automate this process, but now you've just automated something that's not that effective. And really, as I've said before I would create the end-to-end workflow to automate that whole thing, I would test out those pieces to see if it's even worth putting together the end-to-end workflow and automating it, right? And so, before you even end-to-end automate it, you send out 1,000 emails and you're just telling people, hey, use my real estate service, right? Or we had real estate came up a bunch yesterday. They're going to automate sending emails direct to spam. Well, potentially, if you do, so I've been getting experience in this. If you use Mailgun and you do it the right way, then you need to, like, change your DNS record, I think is the wording for it. There's also a website. I wish I had it on me right now, but there is a website that you can go to, and you can look this up. If you ask ChatGPT or Claude about it, maybe we'll do that while we're doing this. You can check to see your spam score on your emails. And so it's a way to basically test out to see how spammy your email is. And they'll give you a score from 0 to 10. I really recommend this. If you're going to be doing this outreach system, if anybody knows what I'm talking about, throw it in the chat. I used this last week or 2 weeks ago to check my spam score, and then gave that spam score and that report to Claude and asked it to fix my spam score. It did. It took me, like, I think 20 minutes, and then I resubmitted my spam or my email, and went from, I think, a 7 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10. which is what you want, right? So it was not spammy at all. And really it's a bunch of DNS record stuff. And if you're not aware, so like if you have, say, your own website, right, and you have an email address that's part of that domain, whatever hosting service you have, within that hosting service, there's somewhere where you can change your DNS records, and both Mailgun or whoever you're using, whatever mail service you're using, as well as, again, like a combination of GPT or Claude, will walk you through setting up your DNS record. It's pretty simple. You just go in there. I think I did a little bit on this in a previous coaching call, and that will fix it. If you don't do that type of thing, as Aaron is saying, you will just start sending your emails directly to spam. Or even worse, you'll either send them to spam, or when I was first testing this out, and this is, I figured all this out, they'll put a message at the top, like in your Gmail, that says something about, this is probably a spam email, blah, 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 which is not a good look. You do not want your email to say it's a spam email, right? So let's try to do something that's a little bit better. And one of the things I mentioned yesterday, and this is something I've been doing a bunch recently, is use ChatGPT to generate a report for you, a guide, whatever. Then go over to Gamma, go over to GenSpark, have it make it look nice, and then boom, you have something that you can now offer, right? So that you can do a few different things with it. You can now, when you're sending an email to people, you're not sending people an email asking them to sign up for your service, right? Or to do business with you. What you're doing is you're offering them a free AI forecast guide, a free AI roadmap, a free AI integration playbook. I'm using those examples because these are the things I actually built. I don't know if we want to, I mean, it's up to everybody. I was going to either do AI stuff, since we have a lot of AI people on here who potentially have AI services, or I've been like going through all the AI ones recently. If we want to do real estate, since real estate seems to be so popular among the group, it doesn't really matter, right? Like, you'll just see my process for how I did it. I think that it's, it's one of those things where it's like, until you see it done, like, I don't know if I could do that. And then once you see it, it's like, oh man, I could do these all day. Like, it would literally take you half an hour, maybe an hour to generate one of these reports. They're pretty good. And then from there, you would put a link in your outgoing email. And again, now your email is not all about, hey, I want you to use my service. It is now about, I want to offer you this free thing. And then, is it going to absolutely make all the difference in the absolute world? Probably not. But for a little bit of extra time, if you're going to be spending all this money on lead, somewhere where you're getting your leads, and then another system so that you can send out your leads, and then you're eventually going to put this all together in N8N and do all the automation so that it can send out all these leads and get you thousands of emails a day, which I don't think you're supposed to do. One of the things that I was looking into is thousands a day is pretty tough as far as how many emails you should send out, but hundreds a day, right? Unless you have maybe multiple email addresses you can use. And then that will go a little bit better. So yeah, today we're going to go through a little bit of content gen, and you can see how easy it is, and also don't, what do I say? Spend a little bit of time with making sure that it's pretty good. I guess that's the easiest way to say. However, I'd also point out, like, I mean, the writing for GPT-5 is really good these days, I feel like, and especially for this type of content. If you don't have like a bunch of characters, like if you're not trying to do like a book about like warlocks and wizards and whatever, I guess warlocks and wizards are basically the same thing, warlocks and dragons and elves and princesses, that it has more trouble with. But it's almost like it's been trained on these reports or these guides specifically. And so yeah, we're gonna get into that today. Let me just check, do we have is anybody in here new? I feel like I see a lot. Hunter Smith, are you new? Is this your first time in a coaching call?
First time.
First time. long time. Hunter Smith, what brings you, if you want, you don't have to, tell us what brings you to AI Profit Boardroom. What are you looking to get out of these coaching calls and out of our community?
So I own several businesses, both real estate, mortgage, and a couple other things, and just have really liked all the YouTube videos and whatnot, trying to automate inside and then someday sell that stuff once I figure out how to actually do some of the automation.
Awesome. Hunter, so as a real estate person in the real estate, do you have like free guides and reports that you like put in your outreach emails or in your outreach content at all?
And usually those come from a different service that kind of produces those products.
Okay, all right, let's take a look and we'll see if maybe I can show you how you could just do it yourself really easily today. Okay, and then the one other person, who did I see who I thought? Oh, David, and that last name, it's a lot of consonants in a row, so I'm not even going to try. David, you said you're new. What brings you to the AI Profit Boardroom and to these coaching calls? And you can just write in the chat if you want to. I know some people are in a noisy or at work and they can't talk. You also don't have to share if you don't want to. There's not a lot of peer pressure around here, but it does help us know how to, format what we're looking to do. What are our folks looking for? I have noticed it seems like we have a large number of people in the real estate sector, like at least maybe not large, but I feel like the last few people who have been talking are all in real estate, which I guess makes sense when you look at, that's probably a business that automation could help out a lot. And then it's like a high revenue business, right? Where like the more of those properties and like leads you can generate, you need to get, like it could be, I guess, like also like it could be worth a lot, right? Like if you're selling properties and you're catching 5% or whatever, I don't know what the percentages are, something like that, right? $1 million property, it's way better to do more of those and get that process as automated as possible. Okay, cool. So let me share screen. And so I think, as I said, we'll do real estate as our topic for today. You could see all the crazy topics. Women squeezing zit. I had this idea just to sidetrack things for a while. When I saw, I've mentioned this before, the video of like women getting into beds that were like a creme brulee or like a stack of pancakes. I was like, oh, okay, like these are kind of interesting. And then I knew that zit popping videos were very popular. And I was like, okay, what if I could do this thing where I made videos where people were popping zits, but then like confetti shot out of them or balloons shot out of them, and they would be these AI things. Turns out ChatGPT will not generate an image of somebody popping a zit. They have zero interest in that. And then also the Japanese walking study. Anything else that was fun in here? Not really. Okay, so first, let's just get some ideas, right? Let's have, because once we figure out how to do this, this is going to be very addictive. We can get a lot of these done. So I would like to get some ideas for guides and reports that I can give away to potential leads for my, we'll say, commercial real estate business. And basically, right here, you can just change it to whatever business you want, right? Give me 5 or 6 different ideas and why they are smart options for generating. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't go super slow on me at some point. Boom. Right. So this is the type of thing that we're looking for. A commercial real estate market outlook report, quarterly or annual. So this is good, right? Because then this gives you something where you can update this, right? So like you have this outlook and then you can do a new one every quarter. Investment playbook for 2025. Top 10 emerging neighborhoods, sub-markets to watch. That one might be a little bit tough. I mean, like, I think that it depends on like, right, your location, other things we'll get into. Lease negotiation checklist, tenants guide. Interesting. Cap rate and valuation calculator and guide. Beginner's guide to commercial real estate types and strategies. What is simple but well designed, primarily explains the major asset classes, office real estate, and typical deal structures. All right, let's try this last one. Right. So, and again, like you can try any of these, but now you have. I think it's always good to like get some ideas first, and then maybe some of this gives you an idea and it's like, oh, like maybe like that, but different. Or it's like, oh, I didn't like that one. But now you have at least 6 different things to think about and choose from. So we'll do this one, beginner, because I'm a beginner anyway. All right, great. I probably shouldn't say great. What does it care? Great. Let's do an outline. Outline first. Outline for this one. The idea is that it would be about 15 pages. So just a heads up, I'm saying 15 pages now. Whatever it generates for me, if I target 15 pages, it's probably going to be about 20 to 25 pages, I bet. Once we put it into Gamma/GenSpark. Cool. Boom, boom. And I don't know if I want to do a table of contents. I might skip that part. I haven't done that on any of my other ones. If you feel like it's something that you want, go for it. But I do suggest doing it. I always do almost everything that I have as written content that I do through ChatGPT. I probably talked about this before when I talk about my N8N workflows and how you should do an N8N workflow. And then the one thing I would do, add sidebars throughout with pro tips or real world spirit of text. Include me case study, 1 paragraph. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna grab this. Oops. I could probably just copied it. I don't care about any of this. Oh well, no. Here, let me get that information. No. Oh yeah. Let me just take the whole thing. And I should have just done this right the first time. I probably could have just done copy. Blah blah blah. Okay. And then boom. Boom. Paste. There we go. All right. So then this is going to be basically my starter concept. And then let's see, I don't really, one thing I'm going to go through, because I don't, well, we'll see what happens with the pages. This is, boom, I don't really need that. And then we'll see what it does for some of this. I'm going to get rid of this for now. I mean, I'm not, as I said, I haven't really been using it or anything like that. Okay, and then I try to go about 4 pages at a time. 1, 2, 3, page 4. And then we'll do this one. Okay. And then generate the page content for these pages. Because like I feel like, and maybe I know the context window is larger for GPT-5 now, and like they just updated to Sonnet 4.5, but and then like here you would actually put in your actual real information. I might do that when I have some time. Introduction. Okay, but I always do it this way, right? Have me, like for almost like a lot of my workflow for generating stuff with ChatGPT is like this, where first give me a bunch of ideas. Cool, I like that idea. Generate an outline for it. Great, let's go through and start filling out the outline. Any questions? Okay, your background in small business IT systems. Okay, interested in leveraging AI to sell digital products or affiliate marketing. Just got back from our Maria or went to an event in Huntington Beach last weekend. Selling AI solutions business. My mastermind group convinced me there's a lot of good opportunities. So yes, David, as I am always saying, or I've said many, many times, there is trillions of dollars, tens of trillions, maybe $100 trillion of AI opportunity out there right now, where companies have not started to use AI with the current technology we have now. There is probably trillions of, like, if you can figure it out and figure out a way to sell AI services, good AI services to companies. I'm not saying you could be a trillionaire yourself. That might be a lot of work, but is there opportunity there? Yes. 100. We have opportunity all over. Okay, page 3, page 4, and page 5. Okay, so then I'm going to, and then some of this stuff we might need to clean up a bit, but here, and then now this is going to replace that. Boom, and then I'm just going to ask it to do 3 pages now. Okay, give me the page content. Then you could see like there is, an N8N automation you could do with this. right? Where, or you know, like something where you could take, say, the OpenAI API and have it run through the steps I'm doing now, right? And really, I think that this is, again, like the flow you would want to potentially give somebody if you were to take this idea and just turn it into an app, right? First, have people either give specific ideas of what they want, or they can ask for ideas, right? And then it gives them 6 ideas. From there, they can choose one, and then it generates an outline. And like if I knew a little bit more about this, or was a little bit more precious, I could go in and change some of the things in these outlines. Like for one of the ones I did recently, I just did an AIO guide for people, right? That was doing, you know, how can you make your website more optimized for AI LLM services? And the outline was good, except it talked about the potential of doing buy now in ChatGPT. And I brought this up recently that buy now in ChatGPT is not a theoretical thing. It is, you can buy now through ChatGPT already. It is a new rollout. You have to apply for it, but there is a pathway for it. And so I changed my outline at that juncture, and then used the article on OpenAI's website as the source, and then it changed my guide to use that. And so if there are certain things, especially if you're an expert on this, go in here and fiddle with your outline a little bit. And then I'm going to zoom through this, as I have noticed, like these are pretty good. If you don't even want to really work on these to make these much better, you don't have to. That sounds probably terrible that I'm just copying and pasting. And really, if you want to make the best one, there is, and you are an expert in this field, there is value in you doing this better, right? But it really is at the point where if you didn't want to, if you ever have seen these types of guides before, they were never all that 1000% amazing anyway. And for a lot of the people who are getting these type of stuff, they have no, like, they're very new to it. Let's work on these pages. But I do suggest, you know, giving it a once over, maybe punching it up a little bit, giving it some feedback on here, especially if, you know, as you know, when you're reading, it's like, oh, that's not totally right. Or like, here, let's add, you know, your own little secret sauce in here. But as I said, like, it is pretty good these days as far as this stuff goes. You can also potentially find, another idea would be to like grab other people's guides and whatever, and use those as your project knowledge, right? And like tell it to specifically use those as project knowledge, or as like reference those guides. You could also feed it, you know, copy and paste out of different websites and use that as more of a as like a basis for the knowledge. And then here, I should just tell it, yeah. Well, I like to do the copy paste thing, so we'll just stick with that. And then where are we on page 12, 13? Well, here, let's just have it do 12 and 13. And so this is, you know, a little bit boring, you know, that I have to do this copy paste thing. And again, like having an end-to-end system that does this for you is great. But I mean, if you're only generating, you know, 5, if you like, I mean, you only really need 1 to start with, be real. And then as you're going, if you're making a new one every week or once a month or something like that, again, you could also give these out and like in your mailing list, or if you have what you call it, communities that you're a part of, you know, whatever you can have. And again, like these are somewhat representing you, but I will also tell you, part of the reason why I am not super duper precious with this stuff is because people don't even read them most of the time, right? Some people will, but really it really is just a way for you to provide value in a lead, to like give a different what would you say, like concept to your outreach, right? Instead of buy something from me, it is take this free help. Oh, and then you can also switch this around. We were talking like so this is the printed guide version. It's a very similar process for a script for your HeyGen avatar to read, right? I would go through, like, give me a bunch of ideas for HeyGen, and I wouldn't necessarily say HeyGen, right? But for my YouTube channel, these are 5, 10, 30-minute videos, whatever you want to do. And then have it generate the scripts, then use those scripts to make some HeyGen content. And then, also knock out a bunch of VO3 videos or whatever to use as B-roll, edit them together. It might not take you zero time, right? And again, initially, I would do them, like, be a little bit more hands-on with them, like make sure they're making some amount of sense. If you want, again, this process, what I'm doing now, you could set up an N8N workflow that would do this for you. However, it is not going to be the same as doing it through the ChatGPT interface, right? And you may want to use something like Perplexity possibly instead to grab the information for you, just because it would have more access. I don't think GPT-5 now, like, currently searches the internet. All right, let's do these last pages. As I said, there's parts in here, right? Like up top, you're gonna want to put like your name, my actual name, all this actual information. For this purpose, like, there's no reason for me to really kind of go through it right now. And okay, and then this stuff we don't need anymore. Boom. This is gonna be our cover page. And let's see, we are on, and the same thing on, page 15, page 14. Cool, page 14. Again, like, my office website, you would actually want to fill this out, I think. So then do not fall for this nonsense here. Would you like me to turn this into a nicely formatted PDF? No, I don't. You are terrible at it. You're great at a lot of things, GPT. That is not something. You give it a try. If anybody else knows how to do it. And then these optional enhancements, you could go through and like maybe ask it, hey, do this mini case study for me, right, for each one of the different pages, or like read some of the pages back in, add the pro tips in the real world example sidebars. That's, use consistent icons and clean visuals. I don't know. But again, like, before I do what I'm about to do, I don't want to get rid of this because we're about to actually make the content. So yeah, I would go through here, add your actual information here, boom, and then add your actual information here. Maybe take those optional enhancements, and because it broke it down by different, where is it, mixed use, right? We have the mixed use, we have the multifamily, we have the industrial, right? And so possibly I would do a case study for each one of those, and then maybe do the sidebar pro tips for the other types of pages, something like that, right? And then boom, so now we have our document. I want to call it this. Not that it really matters too much. All right, and then there's a few different ways you could do this. I think we'll see. I think you could possibly just give the link to some of these platforms, but we'll just do it this way. Okay, Gamma. All right, so let's try Gamma. Gamma, I had the easiest time, I think, with this. And so you can see, like here are the ones I'm already starting to do, right? AI adoption roadmap. This was the presentation I did. This is my AIO optimization guide, the implementation playbook, and it's pretty cool. So boom. Okay, yeah, you could paste in text, generate, import from file or URL. Okay, so maybe it could have done that. So I'm going to import file, upload a file. Okay, I could have just done it from Drive. Cool. I've just, again, whatever makes sense, document. But as you see, like, it'll do web pages, it'll do presentations, it'll do social content for you. And then very important, card by card. Yes, split for me. Oh, okay. And then also I am on the paid version right now. So some of the stuff, like, it will work without the paid version, but it watermarks it, which, you know, for what you're paying, Gamma is, you know, either $12 a month, something like that. I think if you're doing the, maybe it's 15, some, because I know it's, I think it's 10 or whatever if you do the year subscription, but then if you do the monthly, it's more expensive. So somewhere around there, $10-ish, right? I'm gonna knock out as many as I possibly can this month and then just cancel it. Or if I just keep on having use cases for it, then I'll do it. But I know, like, so some of the things that you see in here aren't necessarily available on the free version. But I think for all of us, right, like $10 is not going to break the bank. The amount of times that this is, I feel like that the value that this is giving me, it is totally worth it. So, and then this part, yes, split it for me. That's important. And so this is going to start breaking it up into, now the one thing I'm not sure about is this page stuff. Is it going to utilize, I feel like it ignores that, but we'll see. Because if it doesn't, then, you know, it does make sense to just go in here and get rid of them. Again, a little bit of work. So then over here, you have your different templates. And so you can choose what kind of, so it's going to just do illustrations for you. And you can do some other stuff in here to change the formatting, right? So we're still on document and we're on letter, which is just like the normal one. But you can do a different one. You can do pageless if you want, that's fluid or default. But if you want something that looks like a PDF that you can send people, you're going to want this. And then I typically do photo realistic, but like depending on the look, maybe I'll try something different today. We'll do 3D and see what happens. And then here, so like you have these different themes. There's more. So if you go to view more, you can take a look what fits, you know, your style. This is real estate. So actually like this, you know, potentially for real estate. Yeah, I don't know, not as much. Green possibly, you know, or here, let's do this blue. Sure. Okay. And maybe I have terrible ideas on how to choose real estate themes. Okay. And then generate. And then it's going to start generating. I'll check back in. How's everyone doing? Jeff, that's why I like custom GPTs as a lead magnet. Must bulletproof first before using it as base knowledge. A lot of guides out there are not well curated. Yeah. I agree. I'm going through it pretty quickly. I do think that there is potentially some value in spending time. I mean, but we're not going to do that now, right? Like sit there and read a 20-something page document, but go through it. If you see things that don't make sense, just point it out, like grab them page by page. Like you can take a page, bring it back into GPT, be like, hey, this isn't true, that's not true, I want to add this, I want to subtract that, boom, 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 something like that. I do think that that's in the long run probably better for you, but at the same time, for a lot of these topics, when I was looking through the content that it was generating, for the most part, like 90% of it was like, man, okay, that sounds good to me. That's, you know, pretty good. A lot of this stuff is, especially because these are for more like beginners, that's sort of theoretically who your target audience is. Potentially, if you do have more advanced audiences, then you may want to use some of the techniques that we're talking about here, which is possibly grabbing a bunch of source material and putting that in your project knowledge, or uploading it in your chat and be like, hey, like use this. Like, use this information, build it based on this. I have seen some people say, you know, have ChatGPT write it, then have Claude rewrite it. You know, that's an idea. Or the other way around, you know, potentially have Perplexity and its ability to search the internet, do the initial writing, and then have GPT do the next set of writing. It's really up to you. But, and again, like, the reality is that most people aren't necessarily going to even read a lot of this. And so, boom, it is generating everything now. You know, it's formatting it in different ways, right? So you're getting this kind of interesting looking formatting instead of just like plain words, but like here, that like actually looks like something, you know, so it's not just a whole bunch of words. It is, oh, and it's adding the pro tip. Cool. Now, I don't know why. I don't know why it does this, what its problem is, but this is probably my #1 issue with it, is that it does stuff like this, where the page this is too long, and then, what are we going to do now? Some of what I would do is try to, this is really pushing up against the bottom. And so like this bottom part would kind of get cut off, which isn't, your content is too tall to fit the letter or set, so may shrink or overflow when presenting or exporting, right? Which is not great. So I would possibly just delete some of these things, right? A very simple way of getting rid of it. I'll let it finish, but then I'll show you, like, essentially that's how I handle a lot of these issues, is either just like a straight up deletion, or I will go through and clean it up a bit, but then you can also ask the AI agent to do stuff, right? And so for this one, for this page specifically, what I think I'm going to ask it to do is, once it's done, I would, here, it's only making things worse, I might delete the pro tip, or, well, I'm going to try one thing first, which is shrink the font size on this. And then that will at least bring this up a bit. And then if it brings the pro tip up enough, then I'll think about keeping the pro tip. Otherwise, just delete it, right? This is not a system where I would be too precious with what I'm doing. And my mom, that goes away in a second. Cool. It's just like, again, like, if you were to do this yourself, that's boom, perfect. Sometimes what I'll do is just carry this stuff over to the next page. Like, I might ask it to just move all these over to the next page, and then push everything down a bit. So we'll see here. We'll go through a few of the different editing techniques to get this to work. Because as you're seeing, like, this is cool and this is great and all, but not perfect. Like, if I were to, and we could take a look, if I were to just export this, I wonder if it's not letting me export yet. This is probably still building it. It's going to look messy, right? Like, this is fine. This will be fine. This is one that's not fine. Right. Like, this is not going to be fine. This is going to just cut it off right there. And so a few different ways to handle that issue. And then actually I should probably, here, let me check in really. Let's get GenSpark doing the same thing. Hi, docs. So the thing with GenSpark is, I feel like it is, and maybe somebody here has a solution for me. When I do this in GenSpark, it is terrible, or not terrible, but its awareness of page breaks is awful, it seems like, and that's not great. I think I want to do reports analysis. So same thing, right? A bunch of different reports and analysis. We'll do this one. We'll stick with the green, and then boom, see what happens. I think that there is like an now what would you like me to help you with? Here are some options. Replace the current document. Cover your current. I want this to be a PDF document. Let's see. Style. There. Let me. Does anybody else know? Because like when I use GenSpark custom GPTs, it seemingly has no awareness of page breaks. And like you could see with like Gamma, it could be a little bit rough, where it's like, well, why are they designing this in a way where it like seemingly will just be like, oh yeah, like this is going over the page. It's like, awesome, that's unusable, right? So I was talking to somebody the other day about their AI project, and they're like, well, it's not always reliable. I'm like, well, welcome to AI, because there are, like, again, like if you use, say, something like VO3, or you use Kling, or you use GenSpark, or you use Gamma, right? They are not always putting out reliable, like what somebody's looking for, and so that happens, right? All right, let's get our agent, so I can talk to the agent and have it make some changes. What page is this? 3. All right, so let's try it really quick. On page 3, make the font a little smaller so that the table all fits on the page. Boom. So that's one way. Just because the table is like, there's not much you can do here. Boom, right? So, and then now everything fits. So that's one way to handle an issue like that, right? And then we're good here. good here. I think, right? Good. Good. Bad. And so what I would do for this is probably just grab all of this. Yikes. See if it'll work for me. And then I'll just do it on the next page, right? Now, this is going to cause problems. But I think there were already problems on this, but it's like, you know, and then you do have to decide, because now I'm kind of breaking things up. They're not by page. It's, you know, your decision on how you want to do this. And so I'm just showing like the different ways that I've been doing it. But then, you know, essentially, and then here, now we'll make this its own page. And so then, boom, add a blank card here. Let's see. Different ways. And so, and this was already always going to be too big anyway. But this is the type of thing that I'm typically going through. And, you know, as I said, there's a couple options. One is to just erase everything, or to just get rid of a section because it's not fitting. The other, oh man, come on, let's do it this way. And then we might lose those icons. Come on. Yeah, we'll see. So yeah, I don't really want this guy here anymore. Let's see if I can get rid of him. There's got to be a trash here. Yep, goodbye. All right, and then everything is going to get pushed down here. Yeah, might as well just start shifting as of here. Let's see if it'll, boom. And this I got to worry about. Okay, that looks good. And I'll just delete that one. Boom. And again, like I'm kind of just creating more and more problems for myself by doing this. However, you know, this might finally be good. But this is a lot of what, not a lot. This is like kind of the work, most of the work I'm doing in GenSpark is something like this. It would be great. And again, like if anybody knows how to get it to natively, just always adhere to page sizes when it's doing things. That'd be great. I don't know why it does this, why it's so interested in being wrong. But essentially, those are the two different ways. It's like, like maybe just delete an entire section if it's not working for you, or going through, copy, pasting over the next page, and then moving along. Let's take a look at our GenSpark version. Where is it? Hi, okay. Annual impact report. Oh, you didn't do anything. Change the added print specific. Let's see. Man, generate the entire report in this format. Use the text that I provided in the document. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I am wrestling with GenSpark a little bit more. Okay, we'll see what happens here. And I think that there is an aspect, and I don't know if there is something, again, that I am doing wrong in here, but like, it always refers to things as being an HTML, right? And it's like, okay, but like, and I think that there's a part of this where this is being done in HTML formatting, which I get, but it's clearly like, you know, we're choosing something for a document, right? Or for a PowerPoint. And so for it to like really be so interested in HTML, I don't know. But okay, here it goes. Just trying something. I mean, I gotta tell you, GenSpark, you're getting your butt handed to you by Gamma right now. But so essentially, right, like I have this, I can keep on going through and cleaning this up, right? Because this is a super long page, whereas it starts up here. But then, you know, and you'll see what happens if I don't. But I guess it's almost done. Here, just continue on through. Let's see, we would want to start here. I'm gonna get a whole new card for this guy. Come on, this will actually. I mean, this isn't necessarily great. And then, boom. Yeah, man, this page is just super long. Is this even gonna give me what I'm looking for on the way over? Well, and then you have this issue. I don't know if I can change these numbers. So yeah, that becomes problematic. And so I would probably think about maybe moving this whole thing down, right? So like stop here, you know, just come up with like some sort of smarter solutions to, so here, let me just start from all the way over here, bring this whole thing down as its own page. And then that way, it stops there. Great, no big deal. Maybe move some other new content over there. And then again, this is still too long. Wow, wow, woo. So then maybe just ask it to do these in a smaller font so that it'll fit it better. Maybe the same thing here. Maybe just to get these to fit better. So let's see, what pages are these? Will this tell me easily what page I'm on? Probably not. Add notes. How many pages total is this? Anyway, either way. So then from here, I can export. It is going to have export as a PDF. You can also, when you're exporting, choose a certain number of slides. Or I know that when I was doing this as a PowerPoint, you could choose how many pages you want to do in your export, but that's essentially the idea, right? Clean this up a little bit, maybe add some extra whatever, and then I would think about possibly making this like, I'll ask it like, hey, maybe space this out a little bit, maybe center some of this, maybe not, and possibly like go with like a different opportunity risks. Oh, probably this is one of the ones where I just let it cut off. So opportunity risks down there, key metrics. Oh, I guess I didn't. Oh, yeah, no, this is one that's cut off. So pretty good. Again, like you do need to go in here and handle the formatting and give it some feedback. You can use both the agent or just go in by hand and start to handle things. As you see, like this doesn't look as good. Same thing here. So there is a little bit of work you still need to do, but right? Like basically 40 minutes-ish. If you put a little bit more time into it and you really want to check the content, then a few hours. But that's all you need, right? And you're ready to go. You don't need to have somebody you don't need to get somebody on Fiverr who can generate PDFs for you. You don't need to spend a bunch of time like messing around with this yourself. You need to spend a little bit of time until they can figure out how to respect page breaks properly. But that's it. And then, using this, as I've here, let me just do a quick check-in on GenSpark. How's GenSpark doing? Not great. I say the GenSpark situation is lacking. I feel like it's done better before, but it also is temperamental in this way. I have never asked it to just do PDF like that. Usually I just let it do the HTML thing, and then it doesn't do the page breaks, and then I have to fix it in as a Word document later. So I am kind of less interest in GenSpark is like $30 a month. And so if you're looking to do this type of thing right now, and this was suggested in one of these same coaching calls by the community, they had told me to start using Gamma, and I feel like it's a much better option. The one thing that I don't necessarily like about Gamma, or I have not been able to get it to do off the bat, is use the images that I want to use. It'll just generate its own images. I think that there is probably a way for you to go in and put those images yourself, but that's a lot of work. We only have one more minute. Anybody have any questions, any ideas, any thoughts on GenSpark or Gamma before? Okay. Thursday is going to be N8N workflow day. And then Friday, lecture series, maybe on AIO. I think we were talking about possibly that might be a good one to do. And then, no other questions. Our coaching call is up. Hopefully you got some value out of that. And at least by walking through it with you, you're no longer, kind of intimidated by the process. I think that, again, the combination of basically ChatGPT and Gamma makes it so you can generate these reports. And if you're going to be doing lead gen, and you're going to be sending out a bunch of cold emails to people, take a little bit of extra time, do this step, and now you have something that, if it can increase your outreach success rate by a few, if you went from 1% to a few percent, it's worth it. Right? Doing these type of things. And again, then once you can figure out that this is working for you, have N8N automate the outreach system for you, and then now you've got something. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your day. Thank you for joining AI Profit Boardroom. See you on Thursday and Friday. Bye.